It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies. Happy Halloween Rage with our special final John Carpenter Halloween finale with our God of Rage, Casey from The Nerdy Photographer. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hey there, Jim.
Hey, Bryce.
And the Merman. What's going on, Murray?
Did you forget what my name was?
I quite often forget lots of people's names.
Most
Don't take it
time,
personally.
He's forgetting your name.
So, welcome back, Casey. I mean, at this point, you're our honorary fourth member.
The fourth rage.
God
Yes.
of rage.
Seal has been broken.
Man, he gets spooky for sure. Unlike you two dolts.
Hey, I can be spooky.
Yeah, looking, the two of you.
I don't know. We got to whip up a witch's brew in here or something, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, happy Halloween.
Spookiness. Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
My
Why?
favorite holiday of the year.
Yeah, hello. Why don't you tell our listeners everything about the Nerdy Photographer that you can fit in the allotted time that we have?
Well, folks, The Nerdy Photographer is a informative and entertaining photography and business podcast where I also go on adventures with the crew of the Starship Fibonacci. We have a good time, great guests, and you can find us online at nerdyphotographer.com, on all the socials at The Nerdy Photo. No spaces, dots, or dashes. Just one word, The Nerdy Photo. You can find us on any of your podcast platforms at The Nerdy Photographer Podcast.
Perfect. Now,
All right then.
this is kind of a capper because we made this month the John Carpenter month. Right?
Sure did.
Strangely enough, we didn't do Halloween.
Jim made it, John.
Yeah, we didn't make it Halloween. We didn't. Which, you know what? I'm okay with. Everybody talks about Halloween.
Me too.
Some of the movies we talked about this month, not everybody talks about. Except for maybe
They're
The
not
Thing.
necessarily Halloween
Like, literally,
movies.
The Thing is probably the most talked about horror movie ever made.
I would hope so.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's up there as my favorites. Number one, number two with The Exorcist.
Nice. All right, well, let's get to the juice.
The juice.
We are talking
The
about...
juice is loose.
The juice is loose. We are talking about Prince of Darkness.
Bum, bum, bum.
Scary stuff.
That's
kids.
right.
Scary stuff.
I'd rather talk about Prince.
Well, we might talk about Prince later in the music
Scary
side.
juice.
Yeah.
All right, Prince of Darkness. First of all, the title promises the Prince of Darkness, but instead we get a tube full of green goo. Talk about a bait and switch. I always love seeing Victor Wong in anything, so that was good. But come on. This movie was about a tube full of goo that sprays stuff into people's mouths, transforming them into zombies who sometimes attack and sometimes just sort of stand there looking lost. I must reiterate that the film's title promises much more than it delivers. And for a film full of scholars, why are they all so dumb, isolating themselves so that they can become easy prey? And even the music was a little much, as it tended to overpower most of the scenes. It got tedious, that music. It started out, it's like, okay, this is okay. By the end of the movie, I was annoyed. So if you like watching people getting chased around a building and spitting into each other's mouths, this is a film for you. I, however, was not entertained at all. This was a rage. I hate this movie.
Ugh.
It is so awful.
Right out the gate.
I mean, there's a place
Right up.
for, I don't know. I won't.
People spitting it. There's a place for people
I think
spitting in each other's mouths.
I think you got to go to some sort of fetish site or something for stuff like that. But I don't want it in a Jordan Carpenter movie.
John Carpenter.
Here, is that there, John Carpenter?
They took our jobs.
Okay, well, let me tell you my thoughts on Prince of Darkness, because unlike Bryce, I actually watched this wide awake, which I'm sure he did not.
I watched it twice because I did fall asleep the first time.
Exactly.
Guilty.
All right, so, okay, from opening scene and the unusual and yet fantastic John Carpenter music score, you know you're in for a treat. Not a trick. It's a treat.
I was tricked.
We got
bait and switch, baby.
Because we got stuff with Catholics. And evil and Catholics go hand in hand.
That's
and
right.
I mean pure evil. Casey gets it. We get some of the usual cast we see in Carpenter films like Donald Pleasance, Victor Wong, and Dennis Dunn. But also some big surprises. Because we got, which Bryce didn't even mention, super duper Alice Cooper.
We did. Looking very pale.
Yes.
Why was he the only one that was so pale? The rest of them looked kind of normal.
He's a rock star.
Hey, just cut.
And this was made in the 80s, so he was probably strung out on drugs. He was probably on crack at the time.
I don't think that was his vice, but...
He had a few vices. So I love how Carpenter is not afraid to put lots of characters in his films. Both to help you root for them, but also so that we can get more kills later on in the movie.
So many characters.
Carpenter in this brings us the great challenge debate of science over religion. Or is it actually all the same? The other thing that Carpenter does in this is that he builds the suspense slowly by not giving anything away, but puts scientists and Catholics together along with some creepy music. And it's chopped in tiny small scenes to help satiate your lust for what's about to come. I also love that even back in 1987, Carpenter has a very diverse cast filling out both the homeless and the educated, which I imagine if you go back to 1987, you will not see this diverse of a cast in any film, period.
That's true.
Plus, you get people of other ethnicities that actually live at the end. So that also doesn't happen in anything else in 1987. Am I right or am I right?
You are correct,
You are
sir.
correct.
Yeah.
We even managed to get some, ethnicity on a ethnicity jokes.
Yes, exactly.
Such a good joke.
Exactly. We get creepy worms and bugs and zombie-like homeless, along with the raggedy old lava lamp in the basement, and a moon during the day that seems to hold everyone's attention. All the while, more and more sensations of evil permeate the essence of this film and the characters. Also, when a physicist says, an evil lava lamp is alive and active, don't try to think of it. It's a draft of air or an anomaly. No, it's Satan. That's what he thought it was. He was doing his science thing.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, this is a real thing.
Yeah, this
is
could.
not.
This is evil. It's Satan. It's a satanic lava lamp. This film, to me, has all the same makings of a Hitchcock film. We have an evil that we know has something that it's planning, but we don't know what. All the while, our suspense is slowly building as more and more of the story is revealed. The deaths are both fun and scary and funny at times, and carries out with some awesome, and I mean awesome, Carpenter music score. I freaking love this score. I know that it's annoying, but that's part of the reason why I loved it. Plus, we learned the euphemism for sex in 1987 is on their way to the Chinese restaurant, which they actually reference when he's. Everybody knows that scene.
Everybody.
We also learned never to trust the possessed homeless people, and Satan is real. There, I said it. I freaking love this movie, the pacing, the clash of science and religion, and of course, the ending and its ambiguity. The second in his apocalyptic trilogy is also Mondo, just like the thing we discussed a couple weeks ago. I guess we need one more review, because we obviously have to now also have to do the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah. Well, funny that you should bring up the Mouth of Madness. Are we to me now? Is
It's your turn.
It is you.
Throwing to me?
Yes.
Well, my review of this movie is called Pray for Death. Or, has anyone seen Susan? Radiologist, glasses.
Yes.
The glasses.
With Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter once again delves into Lovecraftian horror as only, well, maybe not only, but he and Guillermo del Toro can. While The Thing and In the Mouth of Madness may be more obvious Lovecraftian stories, Prince of Darkness, with the inevitable conquest of the demon/devil from another dimension, or maybe it's from space. Hey, Jesus was an alien. Who knew? Is an obvious homage to the master of eldritch horror. As a young man, I was drawn to this film by the presence of Alice Cooper in the cast. He was prominently featured in the promotion of the film, even appearing on posters and the VHS and DVD jackets of the movie. However, Alice does not feature quite so prominently in the film itself, which is fine. The cast is headed by the always great Donald Pleasance and the equally amazing Victor Wong. They're joined by a group of graduate physics students, including another Big Trouble alum, Dennis Dunn, TV actor Jameson Parker, and actress Catherine Danforth, who looks like she could be SNL alum Chloe Trost's mother. I don't know how familiar you guys are with recent SNL, but I was like, holy shit, she looks exactly like her. I looked it up. They are not in any way related. But what of Alice Cooper? He plays the de facto leader of the army of unhoused and apparently still controlled by the green goo in the basement of a Los Angeles church. But hey, have any of you guys seen Susan?
I couldn't find Susan for most of the movie.
Radiologist?
I couldn't
Glasses?
find her.
Radiologist, glasses.
I couldn't find
Where
her.
was I? Oh yeah, the green goo, which somehow got transported from the Holy Land to Spain to Los Angeles by, and I have to say this is the most badass name for a religious sect I've ever heard, the Brotherhood of Sleep.
Yes.
When the last member of the Brotherhood dies, Dr. Loomis teams up with Egg Shen to study the goo with the help of non-Gerald McCraney Simon brother.
That's right. The other Simon brother.
Yeah. What really scares me about this film, what really has always scared me about this film, is the inevitability of evil winning. Much like Carpenter's more famous creation, Jason from Halloween. Not Jason. What?
Michael.
Yeah.
Michael
Myers.
You
Michael
know,
Myers.
they're all the
Sorry.
same kind of.
The
aren't
other,
they?
the other one.
The other
evil in
stabby
this
guy.
film keeps slowly and steadily moving forward, taking over more and more people. It doesn't stop. And as the film progresses, the protagonists who do survive are haunted by dreams that are actually a transmission from the future, showing the evil coming forth from the church to take over the world. Which reminds me, has anyone talked to Susan about this? We also get the truly terrifying scene of one of the scientists being reanimated by bugs to warn the survivors that they cannot win. I blame this scene plus the E.G. Marshall roaches scene in Creepshow for my long-lasting fear of swarms of insects.
Yes.
Especially when they're controlled by a sentient pool of green liquid that's now hovering on the ceiling of the church. You can't stop it. You cannot pray it away. Your god plutonium will not save you.
That's
In
right.
fact, you will not be saved. You will not be saved. Pray for death. A truly Lovecraftian message as in Lovecraft stories, even the devout who summon the extra-dimensional alien elder gods who come to destroy the earth are rewarded with dying first, and therefore not being subjected to the terrors that will commence afterwards. Even though, in the end, the good guys win, quote-unquote, and it's possible I came over from another dimension from seeing this because I distinctly remember a version of this film where Victor Wong's character ended up being on the receiving end of the fire axe. But I apparently misremembered that. But do they really win? Despite the sacrifice made to stop the Prince of Darkness, the other Simon brother seems to be willing to risk it all for a woman he slept with one time
Yep.
Yes.
by putting his hand against a mirror and asking the question, "Where's Susan, the radiologist?" Glasses? Have any of you seen Susan?
No one's seen Susan.
Susan. Although I do have to say she must have been quite the lay because he was super infatuated with her.
Dude, like, he just keeps saying, everyone keeps saying, "Where's Susan? Have you seen Susan?" Radiologist, glasses. She's very married, though.
Yes.
That was the one that Murray was in love with.
It was. I liked her.
He was totally hot for Susan.
Don't give away my review.
I'm done.
You're done.
Well, what did you
So, is
what
that
did you
a
give
Mondo?
it? Is this a Mondo?
Oh, it's a Mondo for me. I
Of
love
course
it.
it's a Mondo. This film is so brilliant.
Mondo, man, come on, that opening alone, where you have like a 6-minute credit sequence at the beginning, where you're getting all of this backstory without a word being spoken.
Exactly.
All right. You're up, Merman.
Okay.
Now, this is
Look.
Merman does not know a lot of Carpenter, so
I know some.
yeah, you know a few.
Thanks to you, I know
Yes.
a lot more.
What?
That's right. Thanks to me.
It's no secret I don't enjoy the films of John Carpenter as much as you guys do. We've watched a lot of them recently, and my opinion of his work hasn't changed. The Thing was pretty good. Escape from New York was okay. I didn't really enjoy Big Trouble in Little China that much. If I had to pick a Carpenter film to watch for Halloween, it would be Vampires.
Oh, his worst film?
I loved it. Loved it. It had the fat Baldwin in it.
Yeah. And it had James Woods.
That's right, Jimmy
Jimmy
Woods. And,
look at me.
and the bad guy from one of the Karate Kids. Of course, my all-time favorite Carpenter film is They Live, with my main man and fellow Saskatchewanian, Roddy Piper.
Yep.
When I started watching this film, I was really hoping to eventually meet the Prince of Darkness, aka Satan, at some point. I guess I had a picture of Tim Curry as the devil in my head, but Jim informs me that's a different film. Like most horror films I watch, I didn't find this one scary at all. Maybe if I saw it in 1987 when it came out when I was like 16, even then, I doubt it. There was definitely a lot of creepy things about this film, mostly the 4- and 8-legged kind that crawled. I also liked the cute blonde radiologist with the glasses.
Susan?
What was her name again?
Susan.
Susan.
Susan. That was Susan.
Have you seen her?
Not lately.
Especially after she turned evil. She was even better.
She took her glasses off. She
took her
went
glasses
from
off
she
and
went
she
from
went-
librarian radiologist.
Classic 80s. You take your
She was-
glasses off
It
and
was
you're
a-
super
It
hot.
was a very she's all that moment.
Yes.
Right. Alice
The
Cooper,
originator.
Alice Cooper was a nice touch. And I found out that he's in the movie because his manager was one of the producers. And he just asked to go on the set to watch the special effects shots.
Can I add a something that I learned?
I will also, there's also another thing I learned
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
let's hear it.
He parlayed that into a sweet bit part where he gets to kill somebody. And FYI, at the point of this film, he was a born-again Christian. So I don't think he was into the drugs. Just saying.
I don't know. I get to see God every time I take drugs.
Well, that's true. Other than that, it was just another case of stupid people doing stupid things and getting killed because of it. The young Chinese dude with the bad jokes was funny.
Was he?
He's
if
always
even if
funny.
he was a dick.
It's
I
terrible.
guess it was a decent meh.
All
As
right.
usual, the best part was watching it with my buddy Jim.
That's true. So another fun fact is the bike that he killed the dude with was his bike. Alice
Really?
Cooper brought his bike to the set so he could stab people with it.
all right.
Which
How do you
makes-
know that that's like? Did he,
Oh, that's one of the trivia
It's one of the
facts
trivia
when
facts.
you do some looking into it.
hmm.
Yeah.
You
He
say
took the
uses
front
it-
out. He took the
you
front
say
end
he-
off his bike.
Yeah.
You say he uses it on stage in his act?
Yeah, I think he did bring it on. I don't know what he's doing with it on stage with him, though.
Why would
He's
he-
probably doing the same thing to himself on stage.
Remember-
He's a fantastic. Like, listen, Alice Cooper in the '80s
Oh,
and '70s, the show's fantastic. He's a magician.
Yep.
He like does lots of like horror stuff in it, and that is part of the reason I think I went and saw this film when it came out, because, like I said, he featured prominently in the advertising, but not so much in the movie itself.
He
Which
didn't have
was
any
a little,
didn't have any lines.
and he's like stared menacingly, and I think that he looked pale because I think that was just what they went for with that
Yeah.
character, or he was very pale at the time. Who knows?
Yeah. What? Okay, so obviously Bryce doesn't have much to say about this, but
oh, I
like-
could talk for a while, but it's not.
Nothing they want to hear.
nothing you wanna
so
hear.
this is a movie that I saw in cinemas when it came out.
As did I.
And the moment that I saw it, I instantly thought, this is my new favorite horror movie.
The moment I saw it,
I have owned this. It's
I
one of those
forgot
ones
about it.
I watch it every single year because I came from a place of faith. So for me, it just carries so much weight. And the fact that I am so anti-Catholic.
It's too sciencey for me.
I've avoided it until a few days ago where I was forced to watch it again.
Nice.
I think there's something really interesting there. Also, grew up Catholic. There's something there to be said about faith and about Donald Pleasance's character, where he's going like, why didn't they prepare us? Why didn't they tell us?
Because they
what
covered
was
everything
coming?
up.
Yeah, like why was? Well, the thing is, what we find out at the beginning is the Vatican didn't even know about this. It was only the Brotherhood of Sleep who knew anything about it. And so, yeah, there would. But there's an interesting moment at the end of this movie where Donald Pleasance has kind of like, he reaches a point where he has lost faith. And he's just like, oh, we're all going to die. And it's like, they didn't tell us and we don't know, we can't fight this thing. And he goes and hides in the corner, but then he starts praying. Does not have any effect on anything. His prayers have no effect whatsoever. But then the fire axe does. And he manages to like stop the thing by like chopping off the arm, and like the axe goes into the the mirror and whatever. But as he is being wheeled out on the gurney, he is a man of faith again. He thinks, God help.
Yeah.
And
That's faith for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Victor Wong, who I absolutely love in everything, and you can't tell me that his characters in The Golden Child and Big Trouble and in this movie are not all the same person,
It's
because
the
they
same
could.
guy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, same guy, and he just like he looks at Donald Pleasance like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, which is the same reaction I have to not Gerald McCraney, Simon Brother.
They're Simon Brothers.
The way he acts about like, oh, this chick that I slept with one time and who I was totally perving on, when we were like graduate
he was
students.
stalking her.
Yeah, I mean, he's totally stalking her.
Yeah, I know.
And then like all of a sudden they go out twice, they sleep together once, and he's just like, I was going to tell you I love you. And like, and after all of the shit that he sees, he's like, I'm going to go touch the mirror. Like, no, don't touch the fucking mirror.
Yeah.
Like, you should reach out. I mean, you just saw it in your dream.
Yeah.
She's coming back. But she ain't coming back to your apartment. She's coming back to the church. That's
Yeah.
one
Wait
of
for her
things
at
that-
the church, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, go over to the church. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to say is like, there are times when I think that all Carpenter movies are like kind of intertwined in one way.
Yeah.
Like, I always think that The Thing and Starman are related. That Starman is actually like millions of years later, same alien race come to Earth. They've because he takes like a tiny piece of DNA and completely becomes a version of this guy. What I think this is related to in other Carpenter movies is They Live. When God, I can't remember the character's name, who has the Prince mark on her arm.
Oh, yeah.
We're bringing it back to Prince. She has the same like little marking on her elbow. She has been chosen. She's the one to like hold the goo. When she starts to transform, she looks like one of the aliens from They Live. And we're told earlier on that Jesus was an alien. And who's to say that the demon, devils, whatever, are not also aliens of some sort? So what if They Live is the sequel to Prince of Darkness, where these things, because you know what? If this happened, one of the things I will say is, if this happened, if it had gone through and these people in the church, if the Prince of Darkness comes out, how would anybody notice? How would anybody know that they took over the world? You wouldn't. And I will also note, this is something that stuck with me, watching the movie that I hadn't picked up before, the transmission, at one point, in the beginning, the guy says 20. We're coming to you from the year 20. and then you can't hear the end, and then it changes to 19, and then finally it's 1999.
Yeah.
The last one you could hear clearly. So it keeps going. Like, we have changed the future in some way.
Yes. And 1999 was when Prince released that album.
Exactly.
So it's still coming back to Prince.
Totally. It's all related. It is all related. I've got the strings up on my wall right now.
The crazy
Listeners.
theories.
All
He's the puppet master.
string theory. Thank you, Murray.
Okay, so for Halloween, how does Halloween tie in? Because we know that Michael Myers is obviously supernatural. So Michael Myers is also an alien then. Right?
No, I think what is I mean, I think that that this in the Carpenter verse, I think that Michael Myers stands alone. He's supposedly in the novelization of it. He is possessed by the spirit of Samhain, which is there's the whole thing about how through the history of Halloween, sacrifices are made on Samhain to these elder gods of sorts, and I think that he is supposed to be young Michael Myers was possessed by the spirit of
Satan,
this vengeful god, and it's been stuck in him, and when Halloween comes around, he's strong again, and the connection is stronger, and he goes out and starts making sacrifices of his own.
I think he's got green goo in his basement. That's what I think.
Maybe.
Do you think that he's got green goo? I think he's been swallowed some green goo.
He's been gooed. Yeah, I think so.
Someone spit some green goo in his face.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff. You know what? It's too bad Bryce didn't like this one, but I'm glad we made him watch it.
Either. All right. Are we moving on?
Temperature rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Okay, I'm stealing Jim's music because I don't have my own.
Perfect.
I don't get a rage music.
No, you get enough episodes, credits.
I don't know what you want me to say here.
What's your Christmas? What's your Halloween rage?
Okay, well, speaking of, I guess if I had a rage, is that movies don't come out when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, Halloween movies or scary movies come out in, July, and Christmas movies come out in October. Case in point, the
Terrifier
next
3?
vampire movie, which I haven't seen a good one in a while. When's that coming out? Nosferatu? Christmas!
It's perfect.
That's
Christmas.
my rage.
Nice.
I think that's
I want to
because
see it now, not at Christmas.
I think they might feel it's an Academy Award contender.
I don't care.
That's
I
why
want
it's
to see it
been
for
released
Halloween.
Because that's when you release stuff.
To me, vampires, Halloween, they go together. Just
Nice.
saying. Anyway, all right, that's all I got.
Perfect.
You guys are bopping your heads. I don't think I can hear what you're hearing.
They're not saying nothing.
All right. So my Halloween rage is something that I've probably raged about before, but horror movies should not be over 2 hours long. They shouldn't be over an hour and 40 minutes long.
Yep.
They shouldn't be over an hour and 35 minutes long. Horror movies should be about 87, 88 minutes tops. Unless it's some sort of high concept or it's based on a novel, if it's like Silence of the Lambs, classic, or, Twilight, then it's okay. But horror movies in general, especially if it's just an original concept that they've come up with, made a horror movie, once you get into that after over 90 minutes, it is diminishing returns from then on in. So everybody out there that's making a horror movie, stop making 2 hour and some odd minutes. I just watched Smile 2 that was like 2 hours and 7 minutes. It was 40 minutes too long.
There you have it.
Spoiler alert.
That's my rage.
It's all for streaming, brother. It's all for
Yep.
streaming.
Yep.
All right.
All right, Mr. Casey.
Well, I just have to say that my Halloween rage is that the humor is lost in horror films
Yes.
anymore. Like people don't know how to do humor in a horror film. There is such thing as horror comedy, which I would say Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness is a great example of horror comedy.
Yep.
But there's also a certain element of humor that needs to be present in horror films. Otherwise, we don't have the tension release. This can take all sorts of forms, but now it seems like horror films either have absolutely ridiculous humor, which is just like seems to take you out of the horror of the film. People don't know how to write in comedy or a tension release to a film that fits with the mood of the film itself. They don't know what movie they're in, and they just start writing jokes thinking that is like a comic relief.
Yep.
The comic relief is there for that exact reason. You build tension, you have a relief of some kind. Either it is an actual, like in a horror film, the horror, or it is comic relief, which it allows you to release a little bit of the tension. And if it's a well done film, there is immediately something horrifying that happens after the comic relief to shock you back into what's actually happening. But I have noticed in most of the horror films that I've seen in the last, 5 to 10 years, that people have forgotten how to write comedy into a horror.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You nailed it. Nailed it. I love it. All right. My rage is obviously one that I've talked about too, but as we come up to Halloween, and this will be released on Halloween, so happy Halloween again, everyone. But my rage is that we don't need PG-rated horror movies at all. Like, don't try and sell it to adults that it's a horror movie. Just sell it to 13-year-olds and get over it. Because we want to see the horror. And, but in contrast to that, one good one that we saw recently was the Woman of the Hour, which, could have been a PG, although there was horror scenes in it, but it was done well. So for the most part, they're terrible.
Yeah, I also find because once you get into PG, though, or I don't know if you guys see it up in Canada at cinema, people bringing small children
Yeah.
to the theater, especially if it's a PG rating. They think they can get away with it more.
Yep.
Like bringing very inappropriately aged kids.
Yep.
To
That's probably the worst, actually. Yeah. Well, I think
So I watched way too many horror films when I was too young, but I turned out fine.
Real horror films.
Nice. Well, that's a perfectly good segue to thank
Rage.
our Casey.
Pulse. Slowing. Anger fading.
Gotta have the extra.
So yeah, Casey, thanks for helping us celebrate our John Carpenter Halloween month. So tell our listeners everywhere, again, just one more time, if you've missed anywhere they can find you, any secret spots.
Just find the spot. Just feel around, you'll find it. You can find the Nerdy Photographer podcast wherever you get your podcast. And you can find The Nerdy Photo on pretty much any social media platform. The Nerdy Photo.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. All right. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. And thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks to our extended Film Rage family, who you can find in our show notes, especially our God of Rage, Casey, the nerdy photographer. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com, including our merch site for Redbubble and TeePublic. We're always wanting to make this a raging blast for all listeners, so please, please, please reach out on socials. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage. But no matter what you do, please, 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 pretty please, 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 make us rage. That's it for this Halloween season. Rage on!
Has anybody seen Susan?
Rage on.